Hello, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal Space Program. Okay, this is another attempt at putting several SCANsats in space at once. So they're in still. This is the same craft, and I managed to get into orbit, and it all worked fine, just about. Went the right way. It turned out I had my fins. The fins that should be in charge of yaw were in fact in charge of pitch, and the other way around, and that just didn't work. That's why I went off that way. Anyway, so I've got the 3 satellites, and they're more or less in order of. So this is the highest one. This is the next highest, and this next highest. Here is my trajectory to Minmus. Right, so I'm going to go quite close. I'm actually not going to crash into it quite. I wonder if I can't. Just going to do a quick maneuver node. See what I would need to do to bring it more. Polar. So I'm just going to. I'm not going to actually use the maneuver node for that. Going to see if I can't find that. Gently no. Oh, only I'm not going to do that because I've stolen all the fuel. Right. I should have a fair while. Hang on. Let's check a couple of things. Right, it is too high. That's good. That is fine. So what I'm going to do is going to steal some fuel. I'm going to steal evenly from each one. I'm going to discover I'm pointing the wrong way. There we go. Right, I'll do. Go back to pointing retrograde. Because I have a reason for pointing retrograde. Right, okay, where's the best angle? Okay, so this is still too high. Okay, so now I'm just going to go and then put all the fuel back. Because this back end, now that I've got myself into a polar flyby orbit, I shouldn't need that transfer stage at all anymore. Right, so what I should be able to do is sit here while it says I'm too high. And as soon as it starts saying that it's not too high, I stop time warping, release it, let the rest of the craft go on its merry way, and then circularize that top section. I'm trying to look at where I want to be. Do I want to be, yeah. I want to be about half the distance I currently am. Oh, nuts! Oh, that is exactly what I didn't want to happen. Right, no. Okay, right. We will still do the same thing. I've got actually a fair amount of delta V in this thing, so So now that should be fine. I should be fine with that for a little bit. So now what I want to do is put a maneuver node. Where am I? Oh, wow, okay. I actually clicked on something completely random. Come on. Let me make a maneuver node. Get rid of that. There we go. There we go, that's what I wanted. We'll move that up close, and then we'll just use that to secularize. Ooh, maybe not like that. Which way do I want to go to circularize? Do I just want to go... Do I just want to go anti-normal? Ah, I don't know where I need to go. Right, let's zero out all this. Okay, what I want to do is I want to, and I must be, am I going too fast or am I going too slow, or am I just going in the wrong direction? There we go, I think that's what we want. Combination of those two. There we go. Right, so I want those to be similar. And I can bring... Fiddle, 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 fiddle. Right, I'm going to have to do some fiddling. This is going to be a reasonable start, I think. And it's not too much in the way of delta V. And I'm desperately hoping that I do in fact have enough time to do this maneuver and then switch back to the other craft. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'm not going to wait for the actual maneuver node. I'm just going to... Just going to go for it. I'm doing a lot of work. Maybe this is probably not as clever as I thought it was. But each of these does have about 1,000 delta V, so it should be workable. Maybe. There's probably an incredibly efficient way of doing this, And probably the incredibly efficient way of doing this was to have separated ages ago, right? Way back when I was doing correction burns, way back here, I was doing correction burn. Maybe the time to do it would have been to do at that correction burn. Do you know, I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm going to go back to this craft here. Yeah, I think that would have been the time to do it. Never mind. So this is also too high. Part of the problem is I'm not entirely sure when I want this to go, which would make life a lot easier. Because I mean, the way to do this kind of time warp stuff is to be vaguely aware of when you're about to reach your destination. So all I'm getting is too high, not I'm really too high and I want to be about this far above the surface. Just too high. And if I'm going too fast, quite clearly I can go from too high to optimal to suboptimal really quickly. So, right, stop. Excellent. Okay, so decouple. And I'll do much the same again. Maneuver, and it was an awful lot of this. Then quite a lot of this. No, quite a lot of this. Or was it? Yeah, I think. Oh, what are they doing? There we go. Yeah, okay. I should have gone already. So I'm just going to go with this orbit again. If I get it into an orbit that is definitely somewhere between what I want and what I then... Oh, I've got to do the thing again. I'm just realizing that basically I'm trying to end up going more or less at right angles. Although I don't think it's quite as bad as it looks because I'm mostly doing retrograde. That's mostly what's happening. What I should also do. Right, 478. I'm going to make a note of 478. Because that's what I want for this. I want 478,000, give or take. Fine, yeah. So now, again, whoop. Where's the thing? Start radar scan. Oh, it's already ideal. Right, okay. Decouple. So 465. I suspect I've just got a lot more leeway with this thing because it's simpler. Okay, fine, ideal it is. Okay, so we want to do add maneuver. We want mostly retrograde, but then arg. Now I'm confused. There you go. Okay. What? Huh? What just happened? Okay, bring that out and then bring it in. And then bring that out. Bring it in. And bring it out. Bring it out. Bring it in. Bring that way. Oh. That looks to be no. In a bit more. That's going to be pretty about right, I think. Just visually, that looks about right. Actually, do this at the time because the others I can kind of get back to. This is kind of the one that I have to get right. I've got less time to get this one right. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I have to do the thing because I've been not using the default staging, so I've been confusing it. I also need to go back and rename everything. Okay, I'm gonna yeah. Next time I do the separation. I get the transfer stage is going to do a kind of medium in betweeny. Well, if, you know, say if I send this off to Duna, right? I'm probably going to send this actually off to Eve next. Probably send a bunch of things to Eve. But the SCANsats, yeah, there'll be a point where you say, right, now I want to do my midway correction burn. That's when you separate the satellites, and that's when you drain all the fuel out of the transfer thing. Because then they can work on their own orbits. Instead of the craziness that I'm doing here. Just getting those last few meters a second in. Okay, so it's got not a hugely circular orbit, but what I can do is I can get to here, which is my apoapsis. I can just add some. Nope, would help if I clicked the correct mouse button. Yeah, in fact, what I'm probably better off doing is just waiting until there and instead of actually trying to do it as a maneuver at 0.4 seconds, which I could do. Just kind of get to that area and start pointing prograde, and then when it says, I look directly at the apoapsis and periapsis heights. That wasn't quite what I wanted. So this isn't going to be perfect. That's pretty close, that'll do. So if I go to it and I look at its thing, hopefully its radar thing is going to be saying, I'm optimal. Ideal, that'll do. So I can open this up and have a look at what's going on. I could possibly do with making a bit more polar, but alright, so let's go. Right, actually, before I go, we're going to rename it. Minmus SCANsat low, that's what it is. So now we'll swap to our multi, and I've probably got a lot of damage to its orbit that I need to correct. One of its panels hasn't come out. It looks like that might have been a problem, because it looks like I was losing electricity. Alright, what are we complaining about? We're too high at the minute, okay. Right, where are we? Let's just get rid of the targets. Right, where are we? We are too high. So what we'll do, we want 478 is what I wanted, so whoop, 480. I'll pedantically go slightly. There we go. Rename this. Minmus SCANsat multi. And basically, I'm right. This has been 26 minutes. I've been I'm going to fiddle with these orbits. Is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that in there. So I've got a few hours for that. So what I will do is what I will do is I'll show you, get some things out of the way. Get rid of that. Show engineer. What I'll do is I'm just going to bring up my big map. And I'll just show you what we've got for Minmus. Not Minmus, that's exactly wrong. Mun. Okay, that looks to be my ore map coming up there. I've got a bunch of I've actually used my Mercury Tiger is still orbiting, so it's got a resource scanner around the Mun. So I was able to just activate that and start it as a SCANsat style Mun scanner. Look at all those lovely anomalies to go look at. Look at them. Delicious. Delicious, delicious anomalies. Oh, I see. It's got an ore projection on top, so I can just get rid of that. So this is altimetry. So this is the grey is the basic low level scanner. And the kind of red is the high level scanner. Because of the particular orbit it's in, it's only doing like a little bit extra as it goes round, so it's kind of gradually nibbling away at the edges of this. I may have to have a check. Maybe I could change its orbital period a bit so it's a bit more irregular, so it'll cover more. But as you can see, I've already got a really good coverage of basic height data and thus slope data. And I can also have a look at my biomes. So despite, I mean, the way I did it with the Mun was pretty bad and only just worked. And I caused myself a lot of confusion. I actually caused myself a lot of confusion with this one as well. But as you can see, you've got a really good biome map of the Mun. And again, lots of delicious, you can see the delicious anomalies. These look like ones I'm going to want to send rovers towards because they're quite clustered. But maybe I want to like land things in all these other places. First Lady Kerbal on the Mun was quite close to one of those anomalies. If I'd known, I probably would have given it a go at landing there. And I'll also check out my slope. So you can see what's slopey and what's not slopey, which is rather sweet. And I can right click and have a look at the bit right next to the anomaly. You can see this is very blocky. That's because I've only got the low level radar, the low fidelity radar. But right next to it, you can actually see these two swathes here that are much more detailed, and that's because that's where passes of the high fidelity satellites have got. So they've got once I've got those, once I've got more coverage there, I'm going to end up with better detail in here, which is kind of cool. So that's what's going on with the Mun. So what I'm hoping is that once I've fiddled with the orbits of the satellites I got round. So my low level one does seem to have a good orbit. It's going to be ideal all around, so that's great. I need to fiddle with my my multi-spectrum, which is going to be biomes and anomalies, and I've got to fiddle with that, and I've got to fiddle with the high gain, but they each have enough delta V to do that, so that's going to be fine. So all in all, I'm reasonably confident that with a bit of fiddling, I'm going to get a good set of satellite coverages for Minmus, which is going to be cool, and then I can start checking out any anomalies. I can make sure I've got any biomes. I'll be able to go into map mode and look at biomes and feel justified and not have to open up the cheats menu to do this, and therefore that's all good and fine. So there you go. That's another way to get multiple satellites around a single body in one launch. I have learned that this is not the best way to do this, and I shouldn't do it this way anymore. I think again what I should do is I should use the transfer stage to get into a reasonably good kind of midline polar flyby orbit, and then at where I would normally do a correction burn, which is halfway from where I'm going to where I'm ending up. That's when I separate out all the satellites, and that's when I individually tailor the individual orbits for each of them, so they have the right periapsis. Part of the problem is I don't really know what the right periapsis is. Not fully. I've seen a few things that purport to say, but I'm not quite sure they're right. Anyway, so that's that. I should have some nice detail, details later on. Nice maps of Minmus to go with my nice maps of the Mun. So I'll hopefully show you then. But until then, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've been enjoying these videos. Hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying them, please. You can also find Nearly Enough Dice at nearlyenoughdice.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, so do find us there. And until next time, reach for the stars.